Good morning, all. So I'm hope like you are able to see my screen. So one of the person has commented, I'm not able to see the video. Oh, like video unable. The video is restricted. Try signing in with a G Suite account. Okay. If you go to bigdatahandson.com. And if you go to meetup uploads, meetup videos, and if you click on yesterday's video is this one. So the video plays, I guess there is no problem in playing the video. So I guess there is no problem in playing the video. Video runs from my side. You can also check from your side, and if it is not running, let me know. Or else you can go to Google and like you can go to bigdatahandson.com. And it's yesterday's video. So it runs. It seems there is no problem in running the video, I guess. So if not, no, you can check it. Else, no, let me know tomorrow. So I'll be able to help you with that. So if you want to subscribe to our channel, also you can just click on subscribe, and also you can click on bell icon, and so you'll have the regular updates there. And like if you want to join in our group, if you want to join in our group, no, like you can just click on this link, and you can also join in our group. Like I will put it in the chat. Okay, I will see that Ar-Rahman on like it's not playing for you as well, right? You can also check like for all others, no, video is working, and let me know. If not, no, I will also check it. I will also check it, because if that is not working for Ar-Rahman alone, then there should be a problem for him. If it is not working for any of them, then no, it should be a problem from our side. Like we'll just check it out. If there is any restrictions which is made, I will just check it out. Ar-Rahman, you are not able to see any of the video. Hello.
Only yesterday video I'm not able to see.
Okay, only yesterday's video you are not able to see, right?
Yes.
Okay, all other video you are able to see, right?
Yes, I'm able to
Okay,
see.
I'll just check it whether maybe my mistake. I might have made it as a private or something like that. I will just reconnect it to public, and I will update you. But I'm able to view. So others also you can just check it out. Anyway, like I guess no. Oh,
Thank
it's
you
time up.
very
On
much.
today's session is like we would go with. Today's session is that is native base and support vector machine. So go like happy learning. So Irfan, now you can proceed with the sessions.
Yes. Can you
Okay.
make me as host?
Yeah. Done.
Yeah.
You can continue, Irfan. You can make me as a host again,
Uh,
and you can continue.
okay. Okay. Yeah. So today first topic is naive Bayes. So naive Bayes is a probabilistic machine learning algorithm that can be used in a wide variety of classification tasks. So Bayes theorem, I think all you know about that Bayes theorem in higher secondary schools, higher studies. We will study about the Bayes theorem. So why it is called a naive? So in that naive Bayes, so it takes some assumption of the may or may not. So using that assumption only it gives you a result. Okay. And another one thing is it the all the features that are independent to each other. Okay. That's why it's called as a naive Bayes. It's a simple thing. The Bayes, using that Bayes theorem only, we are just converted the Bayes theorem to our machine learning algorithm. That's it. And uses of the naive Bayes. So uh, the one thing I will show you in this session, the spam filtering. So we're just predicting whether the message is spam or not. So and another thing is classifying the documents and sentiment analysis is like good or bad, like this analyzing like movie reviews. So the review is positive or negative, like that we will predict using the naive Bayes. Okay. And in that naive Bayes we are just using the probability. So first we need to know about the probability. So probability of head is, so let's say you are just tossing the coin, and probability of getting head like 1 by 2. So that event, so one event will happen, so head will appear, or any tail will appear. So the events, number of events is 2, head or tail. In that one event is happening, so 1 by 2, the probability will 0 0.5. So 0 0.5 chances to get head, or 0 0.5 chances to get tail. Okay. And while rolling a dice in 6 faces, what is the probability of getting a one dice? No. So probability of getting one, that are 1 by 6. So 6, number of events is 6. So we have 6 faces, so one event will happen, so 1 by 6, that will be 0.16. That is our probability of getting one in the dice. Okay. This is the probability. And what is conditional probability? So probability of, what is the probability of getting a coin given the card is spade? It's like we are just putting some condition to the probability. So we just want to find the probability of queen that is spade. Okay. So now that will be 1 by 13. So 13 would be spade, and in that one will be queen. So the probability will be 0.07. Okay. So it's like expanding the probability of queen bar spade. So probability of queen and spade divided by the probability of spade. That is our uh, probability of queen bar spade. Okay. In that like queen and spade, we can have only one card, that is queen and spade, and divided by the whole spade cards. So in that deck of cards we have 13 spade cards. So in that 13 spade cards we have only one queen, so that is 1 by 13. The probability will be 0.07. That is the conditional probability. We are putting some condition to the probability. Okay. And let's say an example for that, school example. So we have teacher and student, female and male, all the whole students. And whole female are 40 and males are 60. and a teachers are 20, students are 80. Okay, the whole persons we have 100. So now using this we just calculating teacher that is male teacher, how what is the probability of teacher getting male. Okay, and what we do, so in that probability of teacher intersection male divided by the probability of male. So this like the same as like this. So probability of queen and spade divided by spade, that is probability of teacher intersection male, teacher that is male. So teacher and male we have 12 teacher are male, and divided by the probability of male. So probability of male would be the whole number of male, so that are 60. So that our probability of teacher getting male, that is 12 divided by 60. So that probability will be 0.2. So that would be uh, the equations for conditional probability that can have probability of a bar b, that would be probability of a intersection b divided by probability of b. And if you have probability of b divided by a, so the same thing probability of a intersection b, but in that it will be changed probability of a. Okay, that is the conditional probability what we are seeing. And now we just convert the conditional probability to Bayes rule. So what the Bayes rule is, a way to go from probability of x divided by y to find probability of y divided by x. So what does that mean? X divided by y means that is known, probability of evidence, so that we can give probability of the evidence for that outcome. Okay, this is the known from the training data. And so this is same thing in here. So a divided by b, so x divided by y, that is probability of x intersection y divided by probability of y. And this is the unknown thing, probability of y divided by x is the unknown thing. So what would be our probability of outcome? So given the evidence like that, we are giving some. So let's say we have x data and y data, x features and y features. So we need the output as the y. So we need to find the result, that would be our y variable. And given features, what would be the output? So that's the thing here. So we're just using this Bayes rule as this. So probability of outcome, so that given evidence, okay, to be predicted for the test data. So using this we will predict the outcome. and uh, and just expanding the equation. So Bayes rule final equation would be like probability of y divided by x is equal to probability of x divided by y multiplied by probability of y divided by the x. These three components we want to find the probability of y divided by x. So let's see how we can calculate that. And also if these equations are only for one single dependent variable and one single independent variable, but in the x variable we can have multiple features. No, for multiple features we are just expanding this. So when there are multiple x variables, we simplify it by assuming the x are independent. Okay, and so the Bayes rule. So that's why it's called a naive Bayes. No, this consider the x as a independent. And now what we do? So probability of y equal to k. Y equal to k. K is the class of y. So in that dependent variable, we can have binary for. Let's say if you are using for binary classification, in that x it can have 0, 1 or yes or no, like that. So the k would be 0 or 1. So y equal to k divided by x. This x is our feature. So when you have a single feature, it will be like the simple formula, the probability of x divided by y equal to k, and multiply by probability of y equal to k divided by probability of x. Okay, and if you are using for multiple features, so then it will be look like this. So like every feature we will multiply it. So if you see that probability of y equal to k and divided by sum of you by number of features. So x1, x2, x3 till xn, we can have a number of features in that, and for every feature we will calculate this, and for probability of x1 divided by y equal to k, and multiply by probability of x2 divided by y equal to k. So uh, for every feature we will calculate this and multiply by the probability of y equal to k, and divide by the probabilities of our evidences, the features. This would be a constant, so we can ignore this. And so let's see an example for that. And say you have 1,000 fruits which could be either banana, orange, or other fruits. Okay, these are the three possible classes of y. So in that dependent variable, let's say we have three classes: banana, orange, and other. And we have data for the following x variables. We have three variables: long, sweet, and yellow. These three are binary, so long or not, so 1 or 0 is contained. So the data sets will look like this. So it's an example for that. So fruit orange, and it is sweet, not yellow. So but it's long, the features, three features we have, that is binaries, and the fruit will be like orange, banana, or other. So using this fruit data set, we will use the count table to understand easier. So it's like how many bananas are the total number of bananas. So total number of bananas would be 500, and total number of orange would be 300. Total number of other fruits is 200, and total number of long fruits are 500. Total number of long not long fruits are 500, like that. And if you are trying to find the probability of banana, that would be the total number of banana, that is 500, divided by the whole fruits. So that our probability would be 0.5. So getting probability of getting banana, so that the probability is 0.5. And the same thing for orange and other. So probability of getting orange, it is 0.3, and probability of getting other fruits, so this is 0.2. And now we are putting some conditions to that, so that we have three features. For each feature we will calculate this probability of banana. So that is long fruit, that is banana. Okay, and so that we can calculate using this count table. So banana long, here there are, that is count is 400. 400 fruit is long, and that is banana, and divided by the 500. 500 fruits is the whole number of bananas. In that banana, 400 are long. Okay, so that's the probability, that is 0.8. And the same thing for the remaining features, sweet and yellow, we will calculate the probability. and and the next thing, we will multiply it now. So here we are just multiplying the all the probabilities, and now we are just multiplying the three probabilities, so we get 0.5. And now then what we do, so probability of banana, we have three features: long, sweet, and yellow. Sorry, long, sweet, and yellow. So we just calculated these three probabilities, and we are also calculated the probability of banana. So here 0.5. Now we need to multiply all the probabilities, so that we are getting 0.25. So we can just ignore this. This is the constant of probability of evidence. So this is a constant here. So this is the constant, so we can ignore this. So we just want this probability. Okay, and the probability is 0.25. And for probability of banana, okay, and also we can calculate for every classes. So banana, like orange, we can calculate the probability of orange would be 0, is because probability of long divided by orange, that is 0. Here orange long, this is 0. So that would be 0 is because anything multiplied by 0, that is 0, no. So that's what the probability is 0. And probability of other fruit, be 0.0185. And now uh, we're just finding the maximum probability, which has the maximum probability. So banana has the maximum probability. So if the question is like, if a fruit is long, sweet and yellow, what's fruit is? So now the answer is banana. So that we have the high probability in the banana. Okay, like this we will predict the result. And here the final equation for the naive bayes. So it's like y equal to argmax. Argmax is the maximum probability which has, and multiplying the probability of y, this thing, probability of y, uh, and this is the pi multiplication. And for each and every feature we will find the probability and multiply that. Okay, this is the Bayes theorem. And now, and also for naive Bayes we can use it for text. So in that text, that will be like many words is there. So for every words it will create a, for each and every columns it will create. If there is a, let's say a one in that sentence, so that would be put. If there is a one in there, so it would be put, it would be like a binary. And we just going to do that. So I will just show you the data set which we have, spam data set. And we are going to predict whether the given sentence is spam or not. So this is what we have, this data set. Okay, this is our data set. This is all the text now. So if you have text, you can easily, you cannot do that. So we need to pre-process the text. In that natural language processing, we have some steps like count vectorizer, and removing stop words, removing the punctuations, and removing some extra spaces, and removing some digits in the sentences. So that's the pre-processing of the text. Let me create a new file here. Name Bayes. And for that, let me just import the library, numpy pandas library. And sorry, I think we don't want the matplotlib, so we can't visualize the text, and now uh, let me read the file using the pandas and create a data frame. So pd dot read csv, and inside the name is spam dot csv. So and I just want to put one more thing, it is encoding. When I tried to create the read the file, it is getting error, and I saw in I browse it and get a encoding type, it is Latin hyphen 1. If I do not do this, so you can see that I will show you running this without encoding, and it is getting error. So you can see that Unicode decode error. So we need to change the encoding type. Okay, Latin 1. And now if I run this, it is working. So it's just working and created the data frame. Okay, this is our data frame, and it has, okay, these columns we don't want. We need to drop these 3 columns, and these 2 columns only we want, the dependent variable and the independent variable. This is the text what we are going to train the model. And this is the prediction, uh, this is the y variable, and this is the x variable. and and for first let me drop these 3 columns. So this just drop these columns. And to drop the columns, we have a function called a drop in the pandas data frame, and here we need to give which columns we want to drop. So we need the names for the column. So unnamed 2, unnamed 3, and unnamed 4. Unnamed 2, and the same name, unnamed 3 and unnamed 4. And now from which axis we need to drop, columns or rows? So of course we need to drop the columns axis, put axis 1 and put in place equal to true. And now if you run this, it will drop. Let me remove the variables first. So and then run this. So running it, you will see only we have 2 columns. The 3 columns are dropped. And now we need to separate the x and y variables. X variable is our second column, I think. Yes, the second column. Of course, we want all the rows, and the second column, the index is 1, and we need the values. Okay, and for y, I lock all the rows and the 0 index column, the first column. And of course, we want the values, and just separating the variables. And after that, in the y we have uh, 2 categories. One is harm and spam. So we need to encode this category, and also we need to pre-process the x. There are many text in there, and we need to remove some punctuations and stop words, like in, is, uh, stop words. And we need to pre-process the text. So first let me encode the y variable. So let's import the label encoder. And let me create an object for label encoder, and we need to fit into the y variable, so that it will uh, convert it to numerical one. So encode these categories, and after that we need to pre-process the text in the x variable. So to pre-process, we have some steps like uh, removing the stop words, and removing the punctuations, and removing the spaces, and removing the numbers, digits we have. And for that, I'm going to use a library called NLTK. In that NLTK, we have all the functions needed for uh, pre-processing the text. And let me first import the let me just import the stop words in the NLTK dot. I think it's in the corpus, not in the corpus. WordNet, import the word WordNet lematizer, and I will tell you what is use of that. And we need to import the stop words NLTK dot. And first let me import oh, I just forgot it. Where is that? Let me open. So these are the libraries we want. Okay, this in corpus. Oh, just right. Okay. First, we want the count vectorizer. Count vectorizer is used for creating columns for each and every words. For each and every words, it will create a count column, and stop words is used for removing the stop words, and modnet lemmatizer is used for um, like changing the words like from better to good. So the same meanings, no? So grouping the words that are same meanings, and string, I will use the string for removing the punctuations. I will use that. And regular expressions that can be used for removing spaces and some digits. And also I will just copy the steps. So these are the cleaning steps. So I just create a function here. In that function, it takes the sentence, let's say, and first we need to remove the stop words. So I just removing the stop words in the stop variable. Oh, okay, first we need to create the stop variable. So in that stop variable only we have all the stop words. So we can get it from the stop words dot words of English. And then I want the punctuations. So this is our exclude in that exclude variable we are having all the punctuations in that string dot punctuations. And we need the lematizer, wordnet lematizer. So we just create a lematizer object of wordnet lematizer. That's it. So it will, for every line in the x variable, we need to clean the sentence in that. So to do that, we just select the lines, say for I in range of len of the x, and in that x for uh, every line in that, so x of y means the first line, and for the first line we will apply the cleaning method. So just call this clean function. That clean function will be given the line, and it will return the cleaned line. And now uh, now if you run this, so our x will be cleaned. And now I'm just show you that. So it just cleaned one. So uh, any dots or brackets are there? No. And any of the stop words? No. And this is the single words. Okay. And then now we have the string. So this is a sentence here. That sentence, for every words we need to create a column, and for that we can use the count vectorizer. Let me create an object for count vectorizer. After converting that, there would be thousands of columns will be there in our x variable. So you can see that I will show you. X equal to cv dot fit transform of the x. Now if you run this, it may not show you in the variable explorer. It's because it is very huge. Now if you see that, also it's not showing it here. Matrix of type, so it has 46,000 columns in compressed parts of row format. Oh, it's the shape of 5,572 rows and 8,000 columns. Okay, 8,000 columns are there. 8,000 words are there. Okay, so now if you want to see the words, you can use the count vectorizer and tokenizer, sorry, vocabulary. So you can see that every words, how many counts are there, like college we have 1282 words are there. Successfully we have 6586 words are there. Like this for every words it will create. And after doing that, we need to split our data set, training and testing. And it will return four values: x train x test and y train y test. And let me call this function, and here we need to give the variables, and we need to set the size of our test data. Let me use like 0.3 30%, and random state it may assign randomly like 30. And now we are splitting the data set, and after splitting that, we need to train the model. To train the naive Bayes model, we need to import the class for naive Bayes in the sklearn library. Naive Bayes module, that we have multinomial NB in multinomial naive Bayes. So we need to create a object of that multinomial NB. That's it. And of course we need to fit the classifier to the train data. And after fitting that, we can just, okay, first we will run this. Okay, just fit the classifier, it fit to our training data. Now it's time to predict. So let me predict using the classifier dot predict. Inside this we can give the test data. Now it will give you the predicted values. With our predicted values, and these are our actual values. So it's like seems like good, but let me see the confusion matrix. In that we need to give the test data and the predicted data, and then it will return you matrix. So these are our matrix, like 1432 plus 191 are correct predictions, but 33 plus 16 are incorrect predictions. So we can find the score using this score function. Let's see the score of the accuracy of our model test. And our model accuracy is 0.97. Okay. um, Now let me take randomly, let me take a sentence and let me try to find which is spam or not. So we all know that is not spam. So let me try this classifier, print classifier dot predict. Inside that, you need to give the data, and that is, sorry, transform of the cleaned this message. Okay, we understand this. Classify dot predict. In that predict, you need to give a test data. So I'm just picking the test data in that randomly in the file, and now I'm just cleaning the uh, text and give it to the count vectorizer and create a feature columns, and then it will give to this classifier, and let's see it's predicting correctly or not. Okay, it's iterable over raw text. Documents accepted, string object received. Okay, I think we need to give as a raw. Okay, let me try one more time. Okay, okay, why is getting error? Iterable over raw text, documents accepted. I just converted to raw text. Okay, I think it's getting error, value error. Which line? It has the line 1. Okay, let me run the whole thing. Now also it's getting error. Okay, I think we can use fit transform. Let me copy this. Okay, we need to give us a list. Okay, okay. Or not fit transform. just did the same thing. Same thing I did here, but for me it's getting error. Okay, let's try to run this. Okay, this also the same thing. Okay, now it's working, and you can see here the first is predicted as not spam, and second is predicted as spam. Let me give you quickly. I will tell you what I did. So first I just read the file and separate those variables, and after that for y I'm just encoding the variable that has two categories, and in the text we have text, so we need to pre-process the text, so that we're using some methods. So removing the stop words and removing the punctuations and uh, removing the digits and removing the extra spaces, and just using this count vectorizer, stop words, wordnet lematizer in the NLTK library. And after cleaning that, I'm just count vectorizer, using the count vectorizer I'm just creating a features for each and every words, and I'm splitting the data set and creating the model predicting that. Okay, that's it. So any doubts in the naive Bayes?
Any doubts, please ask.
Okay, so let me move to the next topic. So that is support vector machine. So support vector machine or supervised learning algorithm that is analyzed using the recognize the patterns, and also the support vector machine used for classification and regression analysis. An SVM model is a representation of the examples as points in space, mapped so that the examples of the separate categories are divided by clear gap that is as wide as possible. It means, so let's say you have a uh, uh, data like this. So we have two categories. So in that two categories you can easily separate by a line. So this line uh, can be anything. So it can be here, it can be here, or it can be in the middle. So you want to choose the best fit line in that, such that, so for we are drawing one more sorry two more lines in that. So this uh, lines will give you the uh, will give you the hyperplane. It's called a hyperplane that, and it's like maximize the sum of distance of the nearest points on the either side. So we will uh, select this which line using we will use for separating using that support vectors. These two are called support vectors. It's like these points, which is the point very nearest to the other category, which is the red point, which is nearest to the green point, that is our support vector for red. And the same thing here in the green, so this point is nearest to the red category, so this is a support vector for green. So using this support vectors we will draw a line, we will draw a line that has the maximum space between that. We can draw this line also, but the space between that is not much wide as possible, like this middle one. Okay, and new examples are then mapped into the same space and predicted belong to a category. So after finding this line, you can just easily classify the things. Like if the point comes in the right side of this line, so that would be a category of green. If that is left side of the line, that would be a category of red. Okay, And if that is a linear data, you can just easily draw a line and separate the categories. But if that is a case of non-linear data, so non-linear data are look like this. So the distribution is rounded. So if you draw the line and separate, you may get accuracy as 0.5, because some points are predicted as wrong here or here. So we need to separate those uh, uh, separate the non-linear data. It's not possible in using the linear line. But in the SVM, that has a trick called kernel trick. So kernel trick is like uh, changing the dimensionality. So if we have a two-dimensional like this is a non-linear data, it converts that to three-dimensional. So now you can easily uh, separate the values using the hyperplane. Okay, this is the kernel trick, changing the dimensionality lower to higher. And the math behind the SVM linear. So usually we use the y equal to mx plus c to find the uh, line in the best fit line. So to separate those categories, we use the use as x2. It would be another category the feature. And now m into x1 minus x2 plus c equal to 0. Now change the notation for gradient m into weight. Okay, now we are just converting the slope into weight. So we are just putting the w in there. So with and w1 x1 plus w2 x2, if you have two dimensional, if you have two features, that would be w1 x1 plus w2 x2 plus b equal to 0. This will be give you the line. Okay, now this is a two dimensional. For three dimensional it would be w3 x3, and for n dimensional it can have wn hexn. Okay, writing in a vector form, so that would be w power t into x plus b equal to 0. So it would be the matrix multiplication. Okay, using this formula you can find the hyperplane. Okay, now now came to the kernel trick. So in that kernel trick, I said before, like we are just putting into the three-dimensional. So k stands for the kernel, and the x is any point on the base plane, and l is the landmark. So using this equation, this is the type of kernel. It's called RBF, radial basis function, and it's a type of kernel in the SVM. So using this equation, we will separate the categories in the three-dimensional. And then the landmark, the middle point is the landmark of our data. And using this landmark, if that is when far away from the landmark, if any point in that, so it's that very far away from the landmark, the result will be very very small, like it's near to zero. So then that would be a category of zero. And if that is near to the landmark, when the points are near to the landmark, it would be e to the power of 0.1, that equals to 1. So that would be a category. You can easily separate. That is, if that is points are near to the landmark, that would be a one category. If that is far from the landmark, that would be another category. Now to select the uh, how, uh, how far I need to select the values, using the sigma. So using the sigma, you can select the nearest points. So I said before, like far away from the landmark, how far we need, and how close we need. Using, you can assign this using the sigma value. So you can see here, if that is, sorry, the sigma values getting uh, so if that is very small, 0.2, you can see here our curve is like very small. The uh, and if you have a high value of sigma, our curve will be wide. Okay, And type of kernels in the SVM, we have three type of kernels, and Gaussian RBF kernel that we see before that, and we have another like sigmoid kernel and polynomial kernel. So after applying these equations, you can our data will be converted to this format, and after converting this format, we will separate the categories. This is the SVM, and then and cross validation will come later. Quickly, I will create a new file, save this file SVM, and now just opening any of the, let me open the k neighbors, just copying everything in the k neighbors from this to from, and and we can just simply change the change some things like it now it's just selecting the feature, so we don't want this, and here only we need to change here. It's our model only we need to change. So for SVM, these are the same thing what I did yesterday, reading the file and encoding the result, diagnosis result, and selecting the features, and after selecting that, we are just splitting the dataset into X train and Y train, and after that just standardizing the scale. So these are the pre-processing steps. Now we are going to build the model, and for SVM we have sk.svm module. Inside this we have a class called svc, is uses to for classification, and also we have for regression also we can do in SVM. And now let me create the object of the, and here it has some parameters, so you can see here c and kernel is what the kernel you can select. So it defaultly that is RBF, Gaussian RBF kernel. If you want to change, you can change the value, like for linear you can select, or else you want polynomial or sigmoid, like that. And c value, you need to set c value and the gamma value. So I will tell you what is c and gamma values. So c value is the, so when uh, when splitting the categories, I will show. So here, when separating these categories, uh, how smoothen our hyperplane will look. And for clear example, you can see this image. So when you have this, if you want to separate those categories, if you have large value of c value, so that would our plane will be like this. So it is smoothen to get more accuracy. If you draw a line, just a line between this, so it can have some of the wrong predictions. So that if you set up to the large value, it can have the more accuracy, but it 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 has overfitting now. So for this data only we are just smoothing it, and for this type of distribution of data, it can predict this, it can draw this line. But if you have a different kind of distribution, so that time the you can have you can have wrong predictions. But if you have a very small c value, so if you have very small c value also, it can have uh, some wrong predictions. So in that, so if you have low c, it can draw this line this, and you can have a wrong prediction. But if you have a large c, it tries to fit the line to get more accuracy. And for gamma value, This is the gamma value. If you have a high gamma value, it takes only the near values. Near for the support vectors, it will take some near values to for the support vectors. But if you have a low gamma value, it will take this 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 observation uh, for the support vectors as a support vectors. But in this we can have any of gamma values and any of c values, but you need to select the combinations of that. So it can have multiple combinations. You can set c equal to 1 and gamma value as 0 0.1, so it can have anything. So to select this, we have a uh, parameter tuning algorithm. So grid search cv, we use that. And first let me use the kernel. Select the kernel as first. Let me use the linear. If that is the linear kernel is getting low accuracy, you can just select different kernel. Okay, first I will select the linear kernel. For linear kernel it would be the two dimensional. For two dimensional you can select the c value. We don't want the gamma value, so I will just select c value as 10. So let's see how the our model is predicting. It's not fit. Okay, we need to fit that. Sorry, classify dot fit. So now it's getting a lower accuracy, so 0.76. And now let me use another kernel RBF and see how its performance. So it also uh, very small value. Let me use another one, sigmoid. For sigmoid also it's better than RBF, but also it is less than linear, so that we can use the linear. And we can try to now you can try to change the c value. So if I change to 1, oh, change the c value to 1, so that is decreasing. Now let me increase the value 100. So uh, increasing the c value, it is getting more accuracy. But uh, but don't put very large value, so because it's tried to overfit that. So we can have this value. So c equal to 100. If you are using RBF, let's say RBF, you need to set the gamma value also. I'm just setting the gamma value, let's say 0 0.1. Let's see what happens. So it's getting 0.73. Please choose 0 1 less value, so that it has combinations. No, to find the best combination, we have algorithm grid search cv. I will first import that. Grid search cv. So first we need to set the parameters. What are the parameters we want? So we need to find the combinations of c and gamma. So for c parameter, what are the values you want to give? So I just want to give 1, 10, 100, 1000. Okay, from 1000. Okay. And for gamma parameter, we are just setting 0 0.1, 0 0.01, and 0.001, 0.0001. Okay, these are our combinations. It has 1 2 3 4 4 values. So in this combination, which has the most accuracy, that will be give you the grid search cv will give you. Let's say cv create an object for that, and here we need to give the estimator is our classifier, and we need to give the param grid as our parameters dictionary, and verbose is used for seeing the what is happening inside that, and what scoring. For scoring you can see the accuracy, you can also see the accuracy. Okay, first let me select the classifier. Classifier is our model, and we need to give the param grade is our, okay, param, and scoring set to accuracy, and it will give you the accuracy. And verbose I'm setting the value as 10. Okay, okay, now we need to fit the grid search CV to our data. Now if you run this, we'll try the combinations and find the best combination. So now you can see that, so it has the best combinations, so the accuracy is increasing. So there you can use the grid search CV for predicting also. Use the CV here, and if you use the CV and predict that, okay, CV, now you can see that is giving me 76. Okay, let me run one more time all this thing. So now let me use this gamma and C value. Let's see what happens. Score is 0.95. Okay, first best parameters. So the best parameters are C equal 10 and gamma is 0.01. So I'm setting the C equal to 10 and gamma as 0.01. For RBF kernel, the best accuracy you can get from the C equal 10 and gamma as 0.01. Now for maximum in the RBF kernel, it's getting 0.76 only. So let me use the linear. So not linear, we can use sigmoid. Okay, for sigmoid kernel, it's getting 0.8. Okay, let's take this. Okay, this is the use of the grid search CV. And one more thing is the last thing, cross validation. So cross validation is used for uh, see in the model, for in the machine learning model, you can use three methods. One is train whole data, and whole data you can use for training and for testing. If you do that, that would be have more accuracies because the model is built on that data only. Okay, uh, so that first step for the first method is uh, training the whole data and testing the whole data, so that would be not sense. And another method is splitting the data set. That's what we are doing in the train test split. But in the train test split also, uh, for if we are splitting the data, so sometimes you can lose some information in that splitting the data, so that some important information we can it can be goes to the test data. But if you have that in the train data, it can predict more. So if you change the 30, so it's like depend on the parameters, depend on the size, depend on the random state. Okay, this is the second method, the splitting the data set. But the third method is the cross validation. Cross validation is the correct accuracy of your model. It will give you the correct accuracy. Okay, it uses the method like folding the data set. So let's say you have the whole data set, it will just split into the parts. Okay, if you are setting into 5-fold CV, so it just split the data set into 5 parts, and it used the first part as a test data and the other remaining as a train data, and it will build the model and predict the accuracy. Like this it will do for every time. So for 5 times it will do. And now it's taking the test data, the second text data, so second part it will take as a test data and remaining as a train data. Like this it will do for all this data. And an advantage of this cross validation is like you are using the all data for test, but in a different method, and you can see which folding has a more accuracy also. And this cross validation will give you the correct accuracy of your model. And using this cross validation method you can select which model I want to use for this data. So for this data, which model I can use? So you can use, for if you have a classification data, you can use K-neighbors, SVM, logistic. You have many of the algorithms, but you need to select which algorithm is the best for this data. So using the cross validation you can do that. To do that, I will just import the cross validation. And also using the cross validation you can just tune the parameters also. And skill under model selection, in that we have cross validations core. And also another library we need folding the data set. So first we need to create a kfold object, kfold, and here we need to give the n splits, how many splits we want. So let's use 5 splits. And now we need to create the models. So we have the SVC, SVM we have. So let me copy this and paste here. So let me change the name SVM. And for this data you can also use uh, logistic also you can use, and K-neighbors also you can use, and decision tree. I will just open these uh, three models and just copy the thing here. So I will just copy this, and I just want to select which model, which algorithm has the more accuracy on this data. Okay, now decision tree, for K-neighbors, K-neighbors for logistic regression. So these 4 classification algorithm we have. In that 4 algorithm, which is getting more accuracy on the data, on the prostate cancer data, that model, that algorithm we will use for creating the model. So to do that, let me create a list of models equal to, in that we have SVM, decision tree, and KNN, logistic. Okay, and then uh, for every model we need to find the cross validation for model in models. So this is the first model, that is SVM. So that first we need to create an object for cross validation. Cross equal to call the function cross val score. So inside it we need to give the estimator. Estimator is our model, and we need to give the data x and y, not the splitted data, the whole data we need to give. It will split the data, the cross validation will split the data. And for CV we need to set the k fold, how many splits we want. So that's set up to the object of k fold. Now it will give you a list of accuracies in that splitting the in that folding the data set. So you can find the mean of the uh, mean of our accuracies. Okay, now let's select this and run. Let's see what algorithm is getting more accuracy. So the first is SVM. So SVM is getting 62 accuracy, 62, and the next is 78 9. This is our decision tree, and 78 is our logistic KNN, and the 76 is our logistic. In these four accuracies, which has the more accuracy? Of course, we have decision tree. So decision tree has a more accuracy on this data. So now you can select this model for building your select this algorithm for building your model. So this is the use of cross validation. Okay, from this we can end this session. So any doubts you have, ask. So explain C and gamma value with illustration. So C and gamma value is used for, C value is used for uh, smoothing your split. Here, if you see here, so in this example, so you can draw many ways. The line can draw with many ways, but you need to select that line has a maximum distance between that. But if you have the low C value, it can draw like this. So you can lose a data that has a incorrect prediction, that is came here, but it needs to be here. If you have a large amount of C value, it can draw the correct line, but it prevents it will give you the overfitting. Okay, so you cannot have the large C value, you cannot have the low C value, so you can have the medium value of C value. Okay, by changing the C and gamma combinations you can see the changes in the accuracy. And the gamma value is used for uh, selecting the support vectors, how many support vectors I want to select. If you have the low gamma high gamma value, it will only select the nearest support vectors. But if you have a low gamma value, it will select these points are also as a support vectors. Okay, so I think I have this. Okay, so high gamma value only nearby points are considered, but low gamma value far away points are also considered. That's why we are going from so high to low. Okay, now 0 0.1 0.01 like this, and we are just increasing the C value. Okay, I hope you understand this. To select the C and gamma combinations, we use the grid search CV. Not only for the SVM, we can use for any of the uh, algorithms which you want to tune the parameters. You can use the grid search CV. Any other doubts? In naive Bayes, or can upload any data set to cross validation in this code? Yes, you can upload any of the data set, but use of the cross validation is to select which model has more accuracy on that particular data. You can use any of the data set. Let's say if you want to select another data set. Let me give you an example of if you are using, let's say, the candy data. If you are given this data, you want to find, you can have many of algorithms in have has in machine learning, but you need to select which algorithm to use to this data. So for that we are using the cross validation to selecting the model, which model I want to build for this data. Okay, for that I am just creating the for the algorithms and give it to the cross validation, and it will give you the accuracy by holding the data. The whole data you need to give x and y, not the training data and testing data. You just need to give the whole data, and it will try to find the accuracy. Okay. Any other doubts?
Any doubts you have, please ask. I guess there is no doubts. So we are done with support vector mission and native base, native base, and now no like let me share my screen. So for newcomers, we are bigdatahandson.com. So few people who wants to join in our chat group. Hope I have sent you the chat link, so you can join using that chat link. No, like you can just click on it and you can join that using that chat link which I have. So here is our bigdatahandson.com site. So you can go to meetup uploads and go to meetup videos, and all the videos are working, no problem. So one person have asked for Ar-Rahman has asked for some issues related to video playing, and A.R. Rahman has asked but he is able to work because he had some problem in antivirus was blocking, it seems. So there is no problem. So all these videos is able to work, and if you have any doubts or something like that, you can just WhatsApp to this number, or you can just mail us. And also like you can and you can also go to our bigdatahandson.com YouTube link, and you can play for the video. And like you will be getting so like you can just click on it and you can make use of it, and you can see these videos. So if you want to click like, no, you can just click like, or else you can, if you want to dislike it, no, you can just click on dislike it. If you are disliking it, please provide your comments so that it will be easy uh, for us to see that what is the mistake we have done, so that we can rectify in it in our next sessions. And that's it. So, or tomorrow we'll be seeing this topic. Tomorrow's topic would be tomorrow's topic would be this, k-means clustering slash kernel PCA. After that, we'll be entering into deep learning. Lots of people will be joining for this deep learning part. Artificial neural networks, convolutional neural networks, recurring neural networks, ANN, CNN, RNN, and upper confidence bound Thompson sampling. For all these concepts, now it will be covered on deep learning part. So that is the main important part. Please ensure that you please connect on time from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which would be the end of our complete probability statistics, machine learning, and deep learning session. So please ensure that you connect on time. K means clustering, kernel PCA. You can also invite your friends. So you can also invite this. You can also send these messages to your friends, and they can also join our chat group, and they can also connect in our YouTube channels sessions, morning sessions, which is going on. So these four. So tomorrow we shall see K means clustering. So thank you all for attending the session. Myself, Khalil Ahmad, Irfan, the trainer, and Dinesh Kumar, our consultant. We all thank you for all people who have attended the session. Thank you. Meet you tomorrow on the same time, 6:30.